Hey guys, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel, welcome to the garage. So in this video, I'm going to take the rear shocks off. I'm just going to take them down into the basement. I'm going to take them apart. I'm going to put the valving back to its stock configuration, only for compression. I'm going to leave it so that they extend really quickly. I'm not too worried about that. I just want to slow down their compression. So I'm sure every vehicle is different as far as this is concerned, but what I do to take my shocks out is I'm going to jack it up so I'm at full droop, which basically means I'm going to jack it up until my limiting straps are tight, because that's going to extend the shocks as much as I can. I'm going to take the radiator off here. Once I have it jacked up and the shocks are extended as much as they can, I'll spin these collars off so that I let the springs relax. And on these shock absorbers, once I relax the springs, then the springs actually lose all their tension, and then I can just take the bolts out and pull the springs right out. These are 14-inch stroke shock absorbers. Each of these springs are 14 inches long. When you do that, you stack these up, you run your collars all the way up to the top. If you take your shock and extend it all the way, you've got some slack in there, which is pretty nice. So what you do is, do what I just did, extend it all the way. You've got some slack here. When you do that, this bottom collar comes off, and then there is a snap ring right here which prevents that from going past. So if you take that snap ring and just pull it off, that's the little snap ring. When you pull that snap ring off, then this collar comes right off. So you take that collar off, and then that's it. With that, you can then take the springs off, so you're taking them off from the bottom. Take your slider off. And then take your bottom spring off. Now you've got your shock absorber without the spring. This will be a lot easier to take downstairs. First thing I'm going to do is neutralize my pressure. I've already expelled the high pressure nitrogen. So if you haven't done that, do that before you do this. So what I'm going to do here is just put a little rag here in case it's still got some pressure. Alright. Now that I've done that, the air in here is at atmospheric pressure. So get yourself an Allen wrench. If you look up in here, there's two holes for your spanner wrench, and there's a little set screw. Loosen that set screw, like, you only need to go like one turn. Just loosen that up a little bit. Now I don't have a spanner wrench for this yet, so I'm going to be a little bit of a hack and use some channel locks. However, I know because I've taken this apart already, it's not very tight. Okay, so just turn it a little bit. Thread it out. Now if you look in here, this first piece that we're looking at right there is actually your oil seal. And the first thing that we need to do is there's a snap ring just beyond that to get it out. So first thing you want to do is push it down. Now you want to go in there with whatever you've got and get that snap ring out. Now if you can see, I just pulled out this snap ring. Now I'm just going to gently kind of bump it There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this up. As you pull this out, there's a wear ring on the piston itself. I don't want to drop that, and it comes off real easy. So as soon as I pull it out, I'm going to grab that wear ring. And there is the wear ring. Comes off real easy. I'm going to set that off to the side. Now I'm going to take the shock body just out of the vise. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the shock shaft, turn it upside down. I'm going to clamp it in the vise here. Make it nice and snug. Now I'm going to take a 3/4 inch socket. Just take this bolt off. It shouldn't be too tight. And it doesn't have Loctite on it or anything like that. It's just like an interference fit nut. So it has resistance most of the time. Pay attention to that, because at first it feels like you're cross-threading it, but you're not. It's just an interference fit. This is your valve body. You've got a set of valve plates on top, and you've got a set of valve plates on the bottom. Basically what these valves do is these plates are just thin plates of metal. That's all they are. And as the oil tries to go through them this way, they'll bend to let the oil through. That's all they do. You can buy a shim kit or a valve kit from Fox, and they'll come with different diameters, and I think even different thicknesses for the plates. I'm not going to touch the rebound shims, which are those, so I'm just going to take those shims and the valve body off. Then the shims that I'm left with here are the compression shims. So I'm going to take those off. That's just a washer, that's not a shim. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but what I did when I first got these shocks is I took this valve plate. I took this valve plate, which was right underneath the big one, and I just shifted it to the top. So these valve plates lost the backing that this one gave it, and that actually makes a very big difference in the dampening. So what I'm going to do is just slide that back in there like it is from the factory, and now all of these plates are, each one gets a little bit bigger, and that actually backs up the largest one the most and increases the dampening. So I'm just going to put that back on here. Now what I've done is the compression dampening is back to stock. I still have this one softened up because for right now I still want it to be able to extend very quickly, but I want more dampening. Just gonna put the washer back on there, tighten it down. I'm not going to torque this. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but because it's an interference fit, I'm not worried about it backing off or anything, and I don't even actually make it that tight. It's not going to back off. I just basically tighten it till it bottoms out. You can feel it bottom out, and then it pinches everything down. Once you do that, none of these valve plates rotate or anything like that. It all becomes tight. Now all the valving action is just going to happen when they deflect up or down. Now I'm going to put the shock shaft back in. I've got the wear ring here. Want to make sure that before you put that in, get that on there and make sure it all goes in smoothly. Okay, now again, you need to take the seal, push it down in there, and push it beyond where you're going to set the snap ring. Then you take the snap ring, put it in there. You can see and hear it click when you get it in there properly. Then what I like to do we need to thread this on now. If you push the shock shaft in, as you push it in, the air pressure in the shock is going to increase. And did you see that pop up? That's because as we increase the air pressure in the shock body, it pushed that seal up, which now makes it nice and easy to just take this down and screw it on there. Now when we have it on there, just give it a little snug. Hopefully with your spanner wrench. If you're a butcher like me, you're using your channel locks. Just tighten it up a little bit. Take that little set screw. Just turn it in until you feel it contact. Then just give it a little turn. You don't want to push that down too tightly. All it's doing is touching the aluminum oil seal and making it so that this won't work itself loose. That's it for the revalving now. I've changed the shim stacks, so I got it where I want it. Now I'm going to take it out, go back up to the garage, put the springs on it, bolt it back into the car. So one change I did make on that is the measurements that I took before I took this all apart. I was 2 1/4 inches from the top of the locking nut to the threads. And I know that because this engine's a little bit heavier and I don't have any firmer springs yet, I wanted to get the ride height a little bit higher up. So when I just reset it now, instead of going to 2 1/4, I went to 2 3/4. So I compressed it a 1/2 of an inch more, just to give it a little bit higher ride height. So I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys like the channel. You know, as long as it's helping you guys get out there and work on whatever you want to work on, then we're all having a good time. So thanks for watching the video. I hope to see you on the next one, and take care.